Okay, we're live. What's up, everyone? I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to another video. In today's video, we are going to. So I got a Telegram message from a dude who asked me what my profit taking looks like. And without giving financial advice, I'll cover what I'm planning to do and what I've done in the past. We're going to check out the cycles. So I've tweeted this a while ago, and it's actually quite valuable if we incorporate it with. Let me just get it here. Let's see if it's up on the screen. Yeah, okay, so we'll look at this and how it can play into a staking ladder, and when I am going to have some stakes coming out. So we'll look at that. Also, we'll measure the Bitcoin tops. Bitcoin's pumping nicely now, just like Hex as well. We'll just go off. So this is going to be, we'll see when Hex topped out after Bitcoin. I think I can actually add it up on here. It actually has all the data. We should actually take a look at this chart on a new price scale. It doesn't have all of the history. Okay. So Hex actually bottomed a few weeks before. Okay, so let's just keep on. We'll take a look at that. Let's change the color to purple. Interesting. Obviously it's not going to be accurate, but we'll take a look at that. We'll discuss some ways to stake and to use the maximum contract, the Maximus contract. What I do when I sell half on a double, and also how to use the Fib. We'll cover the Fibonacci on the Hedron chart, and we'll discuss why Icosa is pumping a little bit, which is interesting as well. Then I made a mistake yesterday, stupidly, where I showed you guys the PLS versus Hex ratio, but I never changed. When you get to the ratio of any two pairs, it shows you the USD value of the coin, but there is a button up here that says switch to price in PLSD. So I did a technical analysis on the X price chart, but either way, we'll look at that. But and just put a few things right, because I made a few mistakes over there. Okay, so firstly, we check out. Yeah, thanks to UFO to go. Micah L, Thorsten Willenbach, Morning Hans. You know that half of the Germans have the name Hans. I do. And there's a famous Nazi that has the same name as me. So a bit of history about South Africa is that lots of Germans and French and Dutch people came to South Africa. So, and one side of my family came from Germany, the Müllers, and the other side from the Netherlands. So I've got a German name, yes. Okay. Let's take a look at the cycles quickly and how this, I hope it's not the clearest, but we'll talk through it. So these cycles, it's pretty incredible how accurate it is. Let's just read through this instruction. A is the years in which panics have occurred and will occur again. So 1783, 1803, 1819. Let's see if they are very 1911. This is just before the Federal Reserve was created. 1927, was this World War One? Let's see. 1914. Okay, so this one was just before the First World War. 1927. I'm just putting this in Google and see what major things happened on these years. Oh, the diamond rush in South Africa. That's when we actually found diamonds in South Africa. And I mean, 27 years before that, we fought for a gold war with England as well. Okay, so maybe not. After 1927, 1945, that's the Second World War, right on the date. Interesting. 1965. Anyone knows what panic happened in 1965? 1981, 1999, 2019. We all know what happened in 2019 at the end of 2019, right? 2035 is the next panic. So by then, I can't even say, I probably can't even say these words, but something to do with the WEF, right? Then B, that was A, that's the top line, right? B is the years of good times, high prices, and the time to sell, stocks and values of all kind, right? So cryptocurrencies, of course, are values of some kind. And just in the last few years, you've got 2007, right before the 2008 crash. I mean, you can just look at the markets, right? Just quickly gonna hide Hex here. That was our 2019 sell time right there. 2008, right? We all know the housing crisis, right? The top over here. So it looks like you're selling right the year before that, before it crashes. Like this would mean because we've got a buy cycle coming up, and we'll get to that now as well. So 2017, or 2007, 2016, is that 2018? It looks like it's 2016 perhaps. 2026 is the next one coming up, right? So that's 4 years from now, but it's already like the end of the year, right? We're almost in 2023 already. So 3 years from then, that would mean that getting some hex stakes out at the end of 2025, December 2025, because that's when Bitcoin tends to top out, right? And that's going to be the next cycle top is 2025 in December. I think I put it in like May or something in one of my previous videos. So, and if we look at this Hex price that we pulled up here, I'll just show it again. Hex topped out. Now this was a weird double top, right? If we take it from here, from the first top, that's like 151 days after the Bitcoin top, Hex stopped. And Ethereum likes to do that as well. Let's put up Ethereum on here as well. Yeah, so Ethereum topped out a few days after Hex as well. So remember, the altcoins tend to top out after Bitcoin. As I said yesterday, there's a flow of money through crypto. So firstly, it starts on the largest cap, which is Bitcoin. People run it up. Then they shift it into the medium coins like your Ethereum, the blue lines, and then into your micro caps. Now, I wouldn't say Hex is a micro cap by this point, probably a mid cap, but your micro caps being the more obscure coins, right? So interestingly enough, we topped early on Hex, but this was. Let's look at previous cycles. Ethereum topped out 21 days after the Bitcoin top, the previous cycle, right? Yeah, 28 days, so exactly about a year. Let's go through your questions, because it seems like you're all looking at the past events. UFO likes Krugerrands. Yeah, it's probably the most famous gold coins you can get. Yeah, I was in South Africa in 2010 for the Football World Cup. Drove all around South Africa for a month. Awesome, dude. It was supposed to be really good for our country, but our government has a way of stealing money. 1965, the Beatles landed. Okay. Was that when they first came out? 1965 was midway through the Vietnam War. Okay, and Malcolm X was assassinated. Big history, massive history. 2025, Pulse X hits 10 cents. Yeah, so these are all profit-taking areas for, especially for, because that will be the first cycle, right, for Pulse and Pulse X. So the US was in the midst of a massive emotional depression in 1965. Very, very true. When isn't the US depressed and looking for more oil? Oh my goodness. Yeah. Wars and rumors of war, hey? Okay, so, I mean, we can actually measure 4 years from now into 2025. 27. It doesn't show here on this chart. Oh, it does down here. 2025. Start of 2025. Let's put that in days. That's 1076 days until the next cycle top. So yeah, that's a good time to be looking to take profits, right? Because I do not believe in that meme of just hodling through all of this. I mean, to have some stable coins on the sideline, it just helps people emotionally, right? And you feel good if you've taken some profits. Like, you do not want to sit through another one of these major downtrends, right? So, I mean, Ethereum topped on the day that Bitcoin topped. Look at that. Exactly on the same day. But this cycle was very strange. It didn't give you 28 days, but it was 28 days after the first cycle. Yeah, look at that, 21 days. Very much the same as the previous cycle of Bitcoin and Ethereum. So Ethereum tops out generally a month after Bitcoin tops out. But this double top was strange. This was the Celsius and the Luno guys that didn't want this to end. And they pushed it up. And like, they got wrecked, absolutely destroyed. Let's see what else I had in mind. Okay, so those are the cycles. We've measured the Bitcoin top. But generally, for a rule of thumb, when Bitcoin tops out, it's time to pay attention, right? And a way to look for topping signals is, now this is a little bit more complicated, right? You need to look for divergences at the top here. You can see just this insane divergences we had here on the RSI. This was from the first top down here. We can even go from the top up here. Yeah. From here all the way through here. I'll remove these things so you don't get too confused. And we can look at the RSI down here. The RSI went lower, right? It just shows that the price is going higher, but momentum on the indicators are going to the downside. Here you should be like, okay, something is wrong, right? We're going lower in prices, but it's higher. And generally you do not get so much time to exit the market. So it's hard, but follow people that score the top. Follow Richard Hart. Hopefully it tells us the top again. And this time you'll actually take action. Because I could have taken a lot more profit, but I didn't believe him. Hans, have you looked deep into making Hex HSIs and borrowing Hedron against them, which is then staked for lower loan cost than the yield borrowed Hedron produces? Let me read that again. Have you looked deep into making HSI stake? I actually sold an HSI, a 10x HSI, to the ICOSA contract because I wanted some Hedron and ICOSA just to play around with it. I can't remember what anyway. And borrowing Hedron against them. Okay, so currently doing Hedron, Hedron hasn't met the parity price for it to be profitable to be taking loans. For now, it's not at all profitable to be borrowing Hedron against your HSI stakes because you're getting so little amount of Hedron versus. So the price of Hedron has to go up for that to be viable, right? Against them, which is then staked for a lower loan cost and the yield borrowed Hedron produces. So are you trying to stake your Hedron after that? So I do not like the Hedron pool anymore. I was never staked in it, but some of the larger players have staked, including the Godwell, and he staked a massive amount, a few million, I think, in the Hedron staking contract, right? But the ICOSA one has been pretty empty, and of course the WhatsApp, the NFTs, right? That's still profitable because many people missed out on those on the launch of ICOSA. So those are very profitable. I actually have one as well. I put like $400 US in one of those HSIs. I always just play around with these things, and I never risk. Like I'm quite obsessed with managing my risk, right? So I never put in large positions. Always like small percentages of my overall portfolio, just to check it out, how it works, so I can speak with authority on these things. But the Hedron pool has been diluted. The payouts aren't that great anymore. The ICOSA one, I expected to, and let me just pull up the chart while we're talking about it, because it's having a little bit of a pump, and I actually put it up here. So I expected after these auctions to be diluted a bit as well. Because what is going to be happening is people are going to be burning some Hedron to rebuy those HSIs. And what we need to see, it's very important, we need to see people reselling those rebought HSIs, that's a mouthful, for ICOSA. And I think ICOSA stakes are also, some of the shorter stakes are, I'm not sure. Because I don't have a lot of ICOSA, and my stake is like 180 days. Unless there's a mechanism that I'm missing. But some people are expecting a dump in ICOSA. So it might actually be a time to accumulate ICOSA if you want to stake it, right? Me too. Senzu says, me too. I didn't believe that Richard Hart was correct, but he got it right. Yeah, hats off to him. Nice call. Yeah, it was a good call. But Steph as well, 0x Steph on Twitter. He's the guy that programmed the Staker app. That guy calls tops and bottoms even better. Like he called it on the day. We can quickly look at him. 0x Steph. And we can look at the timing here. Look at this. This was November the 12th, 2021. BTC topped two days ago. See ya. November the 12th. So November the 8th. Right here. Let's put it on the daily. So he called the second top. That's even more impressive. Where Richard Hart called this one. Technically, he was wrong, right? On the 12th. Geez, that is insane. He called it on the day because the 12th this day, the year 1, 2. He called it on the day. Icosa stake length increases time based off your percentage of the staking pool. Yeah, so exactly, Motley. Welcome to the stream again. Yeah, so the larger your stake is, the longer you have to stake, right? But I heard on a chat, and it's on YouTube as well, that there might be a little bit of a dump. Now, I'm missing the mechanism. But this is quite insane. I mean, he called it on the day. We topped on the 10th of November. And on the 12th, he said 2 days previously we've topped, right? And he's actually now calling the Hex and the Bitcoin bottom. And he keeps liking my my bullish calls, my bullish. Let me just show you guys. Like, I tweeted the Pi cycle bottom on the 16th of July, like a few days after, and he liked it as well. You can see here. So he's really liking these bottom calls. Now, Icosa is pretty much right at the breakout point. So for could this be because lots of the liquidity from Icosa is attached to Hex, right? Let's okay, not that much. More of it is attached to Hedron. Okay, so this is probably why it's pumping, because we have a 13%, 14% pump in Hedron, and according to Hart's law, that would pull up Icosa as well. So the vast majority, 232,000, is paired with Icosa, and only a quarter of that, a fifth of that, is in Hex. Okay, so yeah, so I'm super psyched that I have a Watsa NFT and a Icosa stake literally from day one. And it's important that you're staked over these major events, the major events like the HSI auctions. Now, unfortunately, if you missed the launch, that's just part too bad, right? So this would be awesome if we close above this line, if we close this daily candle above this line. I mean, that could be a breakout like all the way to 1.4, but this would mean that Hedron would be pretty darn bullish, right? Do poly minters have to pay Hedron to Maximus for implementation of bidding? Do poly minters have to pay Hedron and Hex to Maximus for implementation of bidding? No, you're only going to be trading poly for Hedron. But there's going to be a person who controls the bidding. Unfortunately, I think it's probably impossible to code that into a contract. So there are the percentages you need to be a whale. Oh, that's quite interesting. So I'm about because I've got a 180-day stake, so I'm about a squid, right? What's below a shark? I think it's a squid, yeah. There was, oh yeah, I wanted to talk about the Trio stake. Trio is the 3-year Maxi stake, and this coincides perfectly with the market cycle the next time, right? And so this ends in the middle of 2025, right before this 2026 stop, and right before generally the length of a market cycle in crypto, which is 4 years. 1 year down and 3 years, 1 year sideways and 2 years up, right? So the trio of the Maximus is actually a very good one to go into. Because I say that because the gas costs are going to be extremely expensive. Now, if you want to get into this, what I would do is I would go on Matcha and put a limit order in here at 0.9. I mean, it's already at a slight discount, at a 5% discount, but there's not a lot of volume in here. So it might take you a little bit time if you've got a lot of hex. But if you're making small stakes, I would actually, if I had a small amount of hex that I wanted to come out right at the top, I would go ahead and put a limit order at 0.94. Maybe I should show you guys how to do that. Yeah, that would be cool. For those of you who don't know how to put up ratio trades. So copy the trio contract here, because you're going to have to paste it into your matcha. Just paste it in there and trio comes up, maximum trio. We understand we want to trade hex for it. And we wanted the limit order. Change it to as high as possible. And the price range we're looking at is 0.95. So it's just below the trio. So we're at 0.9504. So I'm gonna put it at 0.95 flat. So it's just gonna sit below it. And when people sell, they can literally sell into my limit order over there. So 0.95. Just thinking if this is right. Yeah. So it's gonna look like this. You pay. Excuse me, so hex has to be on top. You pay 0.95 hex per trio. Yeah, like that. So hex on top. If you connect your wallet, it will give you the price. I'm pretty sure it will, but I'm not going to connect my wallet here for obvious reasons, right? And then just hold on to that. Now, I don't think you earn the hedron from this HSI of this because that goes to the team stakers. But either way, if it's a small amount, the hedron it would be dismissible, right? It would pretty much be the gas cost to mint those two, because you're going to be looking at $500 stake endings. So there's another way to take profits in this market cycle. Obviously, the first thing I would do is I'd have my staking ladder, my 1 to 15 year staking ladder. Or you can maybe coincide your stakes 3 years or 3 year stakes. What is the top every time? It's like 9 years. 9 years, yeah, 9 years, 9 years, 9 years. If you want large stakes to come out. Let's check out what the check is. Make a Hex HSI, borrow hedron, stake hedron, repay low, return HSI, net profit, positive with Hex HSI, use as collateral. I get what you're saying. There's lots of these different strategies to do, but I would like the hedron price to be profitable, or at least parity to what you're borrowing, right? November is going to be lit, right? November tends to be the month that markets rally. With October, the dump happening in October, and then from November upwards. And you have the midterm elections in America as well, so the Democrats will want the market to look good. ICOSA tracks Hex beautifully. Curious to see how it holds up as more inflation comes available, but so good, so far so good. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it would be really interesting to see if people rebuy their HSIs and then resell it to the contract. And if that happens, because then next time there's going to be another third, because I heard someone mention that a third of the hedron supply is going to be burned in these auctions coming up. So then another third can be burned, but obviously there would be diminishing returns, as some people would want to keep their HSIs. You're great, man. Thanks for the stream, dude. San Antonio Mexican 555. It's a pleasure, bro. I'm staking a big bag of Hedron yield, small Icosa, about betting on a big buy and burn on the 13th of November. Pumping my Hedron bags. Also waiting for Hex ratio parity to start happening. Yeah, you want that parity to happen, definitely. Because otherwise people won't be taking out loans. Right? If there is a arbitrage opportunity, the market will always take it. And unfortunately, it's not even close yet, right? Isn't buying Trio at current rate 0.5 an arbitrage opportunity? You are correct, yes. And people are discounting this. Tell me if I'm wrong, because I do not think the shorter term stakes, they're not getting Hedron. It goes to the team stakers. So they're discounting it a little bit. And currently it's underpriced. It hasn't been at $1 since, or a 1-to-1. It has never been to a 1-to-1. But I actually like this one a lot because it coincides with the top of the cycle, and you can just imagine what the gas fees are going to be ending these stakes, right? So I'm a big fan of Trio actually, and I'm actually looking into like putting a lot of X in here, but the volume is so low, unfortunately. Like the selling is low, so it's going to take you a little bit of a while for you maybe to fill your orders. But if you've got a small amount that you might want to hold, then that might actually be the better way to go to do it, right? A few hundred, like this guy is doing, like 8,400 X, that would get you filled pretty much. But I would not buy on the market. You might just move this very, very quickly because the liquidity is quite low. Pulled Trio. So that's quite interesting. You probably can't see it because my face is in the way again. But just quickly, most of the pooled Trio here is in sell orders, where only 5K is buying. So people want to get out of these positions, which is interesting. I mean, someone is going to push this Trio down aggressively, and that's going to be stupid. Because people like me are going to be sitting here. I mean, you can probably get a really, like this candle down here, I think it's going to happen a few times. People are disregarding this 3-year one for some reason. But that's just, that's how the market works, eh? And I believe Desi was the only perpetual that maxed out the 10 BPD. Okay, yeah. But still, even if it's not maxed out, it's still supposed to be worth 1-to-1, at the least, right? Unless people are overvaluing their Hedron. And then, obviously, I'm going to remove all of these drawing because there is another way to take profits, and this is where trading comes into play. Now, obviously, if you don't know what you're doing, do not play around with this, right? But we can't hate the traders, right? We need market makers in this market, right? They're part of the market, right? Otherwise, you'll never move, and you won't get people selling bottoms, right? So, I mean, how the guys have been asking me for what settings I use for my Fibonacci tool, right? And there's nothing to change. It's just like when you pull up a Fibonacci tools, there's all of these different, there's a 38.2, the 61.8, the 78.6 level. These are just fib levels, right? You do not have to change anything. You can just take them off as they're not really relevant. The only ones that I use is the 61.8 and the 78.6 level. Like that Crypto Bulldog, what is his name? That Russian dude that used to stream. He doesn't stream that often anymore. But he used to call this the golden zone, or I call it a position of strength, or the reload zone, right? So all you do is, if you're looking to get into position, you pull it from the bottom to the local top, right? You can do it from this one as well. So let's imagine that this was the local top. You pull it from the bottom all the way to the local or the swing high, and this is where you want to get in. So you'll put your limit order at 1,574, and boom, it gets hit. Like, this is like a magnet in the market. Like, it always wants to come to this region. This is called an AB equals CD. If it bounces off the 61.8, you can actually have a measured move to see how high it might go. And it overperformed it, actually. And then again, you have your swing high, and you want to get in here. You missed the pump, right? And you're like, darn, I missed it again, but I do not want to buy the top, right? You then take your Fibonacci tool from the bottom all the way to the swing top. This hasn't played out, right? And you have your order here at 2,516, and then you just wait. And this bounced off beautifully. Like, perfectly, right off the 61.8. It comes back to these levels, always comes back to them. Yeah, so I mean, it's very easy to use it. And you can just see, that's how I knew that when we were topped out, that this is where we're coming back to, and I tweeted it. I said 25,000 and pray. And we came back beautifully. We just touched it, and off we went. And obviously, you can look for shorter term ones, shorter time frame ones. And once again, you're like, I know the HSI auctions are coming up. I know it's not going to go lower because there's so much buying pressure here. And what do I always say? Like, retails buy up markets. This is called the nosebleed section. So technically, I'm not allowed to be going in here. I should have been getting it right here. But if you're chasing pumps, and it's stopped out here, you're seeing the stochastic has turned around, you can then pull up a Fibonacci on the shorter time frame, but I do not suggest it, right? And guys, do not trade if you don't know what you're doing. You're going to get emotional, and you're going to pretty much get wrecked, right? And once again, just beautifully off the 61.8. Now, sometimes these zones overlap. And so that is how you get your value areas, where value is at, right? Sometimes these things overlap. It just means it's more powerful. To get your downside targets, you just pull it from the top to the bottom, right? And this is resistance areas, right? And you can see how the market bounces off these levels. We didn't get rejected in here, but we made like a local top up there. But I mean, if you took profits here, you would have been happy, as you could have gotten back into the market, right? Now there are more of these. I should turn it to red so you can see that this is resistance or profit taking areas. And now I've pulled a new one in the shorter time frame, right? So lots of resistance up here. You can see these two overlapping, right? But I mean, this is quite powerful. As this came back to the 61.8, bounced off, it means we've got a measured move. This is called an AB equals CD. And I should actually just... I'm just going to clone this. And this shows you where the market might be going, where we might be topping out on the 14th, on the 13th. You should be rooting for this to not make new highs in the bear market. For something to have run this violently during the bear market, it's not bad, but I mean, how much juice is it going to have in the... There's so many things that play a role. I mean, it's hard to say about these things, right? But then you can combine like what Steph is doing, watching large wallets if they're selling. Just saying there's less premium than, let's say, Maxi in relation to perpetuals. There's less of a premium than, let's say, Maxi in relation to the perpetuals. I think what you're saying is that maximum is at a 2 times premium, where the others aren't really that overvalued. I think that's what you're saying. Oh, we need to look at it versus Hex. I haven't looked at everybody, but let's look at all of them quickly versus Hex, right? Which what I think what Motley is trying to say is that there's opportunity in the other perpetuals, as it's not overvalued as of yet. I've only looked at the trio. Okay, let's just remove all these things. Switch to the Hex ratio, because that shows the Hex price, right? Okay, yeah, so we're just below 2 times the value of Maxi versus 1 Hex. What are the other ones called? It's Dio versus Hex, right? Let me pull it up. I don't think there's a 2-year one. This is a scam. Maxi. Here it is. MaximumDAO.com is the website. The perpetuals. Pick a pool. Okay, here they are. So base. Base is the first one. Base is 2 years. Base is 1 year. So this is the shortest stake. Let's look at it versus Hex. Damn, there's a lot of liquidity on this one. Let's go to the daily and let's look at the ratio. So here are all the different staking pools: Base, Trio, Lucky, Desi, and obviously Maxi as well, being 15 years. 1 year, 3 years, 7 years. Now I like the 7 years as well. This coincides exactly with the bull run top after this one. I mean, they planned it perfectly, right? Let's just look from 20, so that would be 2029. So this is the second top, and then 7 years from now would put us like at 2029? 2030? But that says 2035, 34 for some reason. Maybe we get the super cycle then. Either way, let's just close that on the daily. So this one is just below parity. I should read about the team staking. Maybe one of you know how the team staking works. So this is the 1 year stake is just under parity. That is the 1 year. Let's look at what Lucky looks like. So base, Trio and Lucky would be my favorite ones. Base, Lucky. This is also Dipcatcher, the creator of this. This is also his favorite pool, Lucky. So yeah, all of them are I wouldn't say undervalued, but less valuable currently than what Maxi is. So this is right at parity. So for some reason, the 3-year trio is by far the cheapest one. By 5%, I'm saying by far, but either way, you get what I mean, right? I like this one, and I might get some. I never minted mine. I should have, especially for some of my smaller wallets. Oh yeah, we looked at Pulse Doge yesterday. I told you guys I made a mistake. I did technical analysis not on the ratio, but on Hex. Stupid me. Let's just cover that quickly before we get onto some other stuff. So you have to click the button up here. Remember that, right? And I was wrong. Actually, PLSD made a new ratio low versus Hex, or a high, I should say. I mean, yeah, so this is where you should be selling PLSD for Hex, right? Because it's overvalued versus Hex. And I mean, how much further can it go? Is it going to continue to outperform Hex? We know how Hex pumps, right? Now, when I'm telling, this is not financial advice, I'm just saying this for the little old lady, right? She's selling here. Well, she's been selling all the way down here if she's been ratio trading this. But this is where value is at for Pulse Dogecoin versus X, right? If it gets up here, this would be an area where you might be wanting to sell some Hex for PLSD if that is something you want to do for some reason. Okay, just to put things right, I made a mistake yesterday. Okay, what's up, Falling Star? How are you doing, dude? I believe that Desi was the only perpetual that maxed out in 10% BPD bonus. Okay, Maxi obviously had it, and you obviously know that. So Desi was the only one that got that. It's still fine. I mean, it's pretty much a free stake without paying the gas fees. If you're not the one paying the gas fees, someone has to initiate that transaction, I'm pretty sure. I am seeing, so sometimes YouTube deletes messages automatically. It looks for keywords. I don't delete messages, right? Or obviously you can delete your own message, but I haven't deleted any messages. Oh, Crypto Bobcat, yeah, that's the guy I was thinking about. Thank you, Senzuf. I'm seeing a breakout of Hedron above the all-time high before 13 November. It could be, right? With the 30% supply burn forecast, what's your price outcome? With the 30% supply burned forecast. So I've said this before, it's going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news event. Like all of these major events, right? So generally they sell off the price after that. People that have known about the auctions either already had their positions, and Motley probably already has had his positions, like and the people that are buying their positions up here in the nosebleed section is not doing it right. They're the people that are pushing up the price, and I'm pretty sure that I'm going to get an email from Etherscan telling me that Steph sold on the, let's put the date up here again because I deleted it, the 13th, right? I'll name it Steph Sells. So you get what I'm saying, right? The large holders are going to be minting and selling here. It doesn't mean Hedron is never going to reach parity. I mean, everything pumps in the bull market. But there are net sellers, people that have large Hex stakes that are just selling down the market. But for me, the value is not here. I can't be playing up here. Either it breaks the all-time highs and I'm left behind, and I'm fine with that, right? I'm sitting down here at 2500, and if the price moves higher, I just move my Fibonacci tool up. Let me just remove it because there's lots of stuff up here. Wherever it goes, maybe it tops out at 0.50 and 1. You could see the reload zone has moved up as well. It just saves me from buying the top, right? Like, I'm allowed to get into position down here. This just shows you where value is at. This is overvalued here. And you can do with that information whatever you like. The stochastic RSI has in fact turned above. But the RSI is still here at 50%, which is not at the bottom. You guys should follow Pulse Lord as well. He's really good with the RSI. Excuse me, you should be interested down here. You see when it was below 30? This is where you should have been interested. Not here. Let's just draw it in for you. Down there. That's where you should be interested. Below the 30. And I mean, I can be wrong and this can blast through. And it doesn't matter. I'll just move it up and get it when it gets back into value. Because you can't predict where these things are going, right? It's frankly impossible. It can just keep on running. Or it can top out and way before you ever thought it would. Do I really? I'm seeing a breakout of Hedron. Okay, yeah. You really think Hex will do a 10,000x? A 10,000x from here? What is a 10,000x from here? That's like $30. Yeah, dude. Eventually, it will. Definitely. One, two, yeah, that's $30. Let's pull up the calculator. Why can't I do this in my head now? 0.03 times 1,000. Yeah, that's $30. Yeah, definitely, dude. I mean, look what Bitcoin did. And just frankly speaking, Hex is better than Bitcoin. It's on Ethereum. It's an ERC20, you can stake it. And Bitcoin was at these prices once, right? It doesn't have to go to like 20k because there's a lot more supply on the market. And once again, market cap is a vanity metric. It means nothing. I can create a coin today. I can create a trillion coins, create the ERC20, program it to have a supply of 1 trillion. And I just have to sell one for $1, then I have $1 trillion market cap. Right? What's the market cap of Bitcoin currently? Let's just pull that up. The market cap is 375 million, right? We turned at like 1.1 million. I can't remember in the bull. We can pull it up here. BTC market cap. We topped out at 1.2 trillion. You can see the market cap count on this side. This is the price and the market cap is here. Yeah, so we topped out at $1.24 trillion. Huge. And I mean, what's the market cap of gold? Does it have a market cap on here? Either way, you get my point, right? And the OA in Hex was created to show the uselessness of the market gap, because he defeated it with Hex, the market gap. Joe is currently at a premium, but do you really think Hex will do a 10,000x on the next bull run? Okay, that was your question. I mean, if we just go with the gains, you've probably seen my video, that's why you're asking it. It's just logical if we look at the gains that these things do. I mean, we almost saw $1. Like, everybody thought we were going to $1 like the last time, and we topped out at 50 cents. Who would have ever thought that Hex would have done a 10,000x? Like, no one would have said that when it launched, right? But it did do that. I mean, you can do like a Fib extension to see how high we're going to go. And let me just remove everything. So the Fib extension, you do it from the bottom, from the top. Oh, come on. To the bottom. Let's just put up our extensions, Vega bomb levels. So that's saying like, and I'll just show you that these things are in fact valid before you tell me that. This was from Big Payday, from the bottom to the top. And you can see how the market outperforms these levels. The 1.618, that's the golden ratio. And you can see how it topped out from there. That was our resistance right there. Then the next level was your 2.618. This is where we're currently at. And we've found it's acting as resistance currently. Then you have your 4, your 4.6, the 8.77, and the 16.88. This outperformed this, the 16.8. So these levels are very much reasonable. And the highest, the top end of this is at the 1688, which shows like $8.3. This is called the Fibonacci. Not the retracement, these are the extensions, excuse me, I just had a brain fart. Yeah, so for this to reach like $8, very, very easy. And you can put on the 33 as well. 16.2, like all of these are very viable. Let's see if it actually hit the 30 over here. This was quite close to the top, right? But these are all Fibonacci levels. And you can see that this got hit last time. This is from Big Payday. Now we can actually do it on the larger chart to see what happened here. All the way from the beginning. So you have your 2.618. 3.618. This showed the exact top of the, this was the God whale pump. Let's just put in the 16.88, because this tends to be the top. Oh, did I put it on? There we go, and the 33. Look at that, that's ridiculous. I did something wrong. This is on the based on the log chart. yeah, I mean, like this showed your first run almost perfectly, because this was like the New Year's top, the big payday top, and you can just do the extensions from here as well. Where was the top? Perfectly at 42, right? Which was close to your top. It overperformed slightly. And now if we do it from here, this will show you your next targets. 16.25. So $30 is maybe a little bit over enthusiastic, but this was one market cycle and not just one pump. So I'd be shocked if it does less than $16. Very shocked, because we have not had a retracement like this until now. That's the big payday was like 84%, I think, 86%, and the first dip we ever had was like 72. Might actually get some interesting data from here. $0.08. Yeah, so you get the idea, right? It's very, very possible. These things tend to do the most ridiculous stuff, and more things that that are going for Hex is it trades on decentralized exchanges almost exclusively, and we know they move exponentially. That's just how the formula works of these automatic market makers. If you, yeah, I'm not going to get into that. It just gets way too technical. And most of the supply is locked up, right? People can't just decide, right, I want to get out of this, if they're not liquid, right? If they're liquid, yes, they can sell, but yeah, you get my point. Yeah, so maybe I hope that answers your question. Trio is currently at a premium to Hex, not at a discount. The chart is Hex and Trio, meaning that one Hex is currently 95% of one Trio. Was I? Are you sure? Because if you use that same logic, that would mean that Maxi, you're getting 2 Maxi per. Because this is the same ratio. Okay, so Hex is first and then Trio. Now let's look at the Maxi versus Hex. You might be right. You are right. Because Max is first here, shown first, and then Hex. So it's 5% overvalued versus Hex. Yeah, shot. Thank you for that. That's my mistake. Great stream months. Yeah, I'm finishing up this stream soon. So if you liked it, please you just click the like button. You don't have to hit it, and subscribe so you get and maybe hit the bell button so you get notified when I go live the next time. Okay. Let me just get through all of these comments and then we'll finish. Yeah, Colin, thanks for that, dude. I should have looked at what the ratio is. You are right. Weight token made a new low, broke the uptrend. Desi Lucky Trio base. Yeah, great stream. Thanks, Senzu, again for coming, dude. Feel like the coin gets very heavy at $8. Lol. I'd be shocked to see $1. Okay. I'd be shocked if we only do $1. How do you manage your extra? Can you show the tools you use, please? So we've talked about some of the ideas that I shared. So I'd probably trade with a small percent of my portfolio. I think I've got like 5% liquid of my overall portfolio in Hex. So I can do the little or lady strategy, which means that I sell off when the coin doubles, right? So say you got in here at 3.2 cents. Your first double would be at 6.4, or let's make it 6.6, just to round it off. That's your first double. Then I take half of my position off. I can then put that that profit into something else, or I can reinvest half of it when it comes back to the reload zone, right? But I'd only do this with a very small percentage of my overall portfolio, right? That's just what I would do. And then when it comes back to the 61.8, I can reinvest that position that I've sold here, right? And then you've got a new position, and it gets complicated. Then you sell off and a double again, and wait for a retracement, get back into the 61.8, sell half when that doubles, etc., etc. But I used to do this with a lot of coins. But it's easier when you can set limit orders that you can forget. It keeps you disciplined as well. So do that on 1 inch. Like if you're setting sell orders, 1 inch has limit orders that can last up to 3 years. So that makes it a bit easier, right? So yeah, I'm either waiting till the 3 years are done, till the top of the cycle, or I'm trading with a very small percentage of my overall portfolio, selling off when the coin doubles and reinvesting it when it comes back to the reload zone. So it's pretty much as simple as that. And if I'm trading like some of the I don't have any position in the altcoins. They're not quite ready yet, but I am looking at them. Right? So this is actually where you should be getting interested. It's like all of these things have done 90% retracements, right? And they're starting to create market structure. Once again, market structure is just a fancy way of saying that there are higher lows, and the coins are defending their lows that they made in June. This is just Matic. This is also a layer 1 coin. I mean, and it just did some incredible stuff. This Pulse Chain is also a layer 1 coin, right? And this was once called Polygon, right? But now called Matic. Like 46,000% gains in one market cycle. Very, very reasonable for layer 1s to do gains like this. And these are some of the lower gains that's out there, right? This is BNB. And we all know what BNB did, right? It's been around for a while. So yeah, if you get some here, the only thing is with this strategy, you have to wait for it to come back into the reload zone. I used to have a course on these things, and I should probably remake it and incorporate some of the Hex strategies, staking strategies in it. So yeah, I think I might actually do that again, so you guys can see what I think, and put it into a PDF so you can download it and look at it yourself. I will let you guys know if I do that. I probably should. I am probably going to do that when I get the time to do it. So actually now is the time to start doing these things, right? So yeah, let's finish this stream here. Thank you guys for coming again. I hope you learned something, and I will see you guys in the next video, right? Cheers for now, and bye-bye.